Welcome back to Celtic State of Mind. It's half-time, Rangers 0, Celtic 0. I think if I was to describe that first half, Kev, I think that the one word that comes to mind is ugly. It's probably the most appropriate. It wasn't certainly not a classic. It's not been scintillating stuff. Two teams that I would say are badly lacking in quality. But one team, I would have to say, probably showing more impetus than another. And sadly, it's not us that's showing the impetus. What have you made of that first half?
I think it's been a really tough watch, Chris. I would say that from a neutral perspective as well. Like, I don't think it's been a game of high quality. That word you used, ugly, probably sums it up. There was a great phrase that I think it was Patrick McGilp came out with during the week. I'm not sure if it was his or if he'd heard it from someone else, but what is it? This is going to be a game of a movable force coming up against a stoppable object.
Something like that, yeah.
It is a case of whoever comes out on top is going to be the better of two bad teams today, because that's what we've been watching. We've been dreadful. As you say, I think the impetus has been with Rangers. I think to a degree it probably should be in this game because it's their home match and they've got to go out and impress their own fans. And while they haven't been great, they've at least managed to do something that we've not, which is have efforts at goal.
Yes.
And look threatening. I've been trying to take notes throughout that first half, and there's one name that keeps on coming up quite a lot, which we'll probably talk about, and it's Liam Scales. And then there's the other notes are we haven't had an effort at goal. We've had two crosses from Balikwisha, both of which were early crosses. I think he should have tried to take Tavernier on for the first one when he was at the byline, and then the second one I think he's actually got space to run into rather than try and play the early ball. So I think he's made two wrong choices there, but I can forgive him because he's just bedding his way into this team. It's completely new to him. But the second one, he should be attacking the space. And then the other attacking moment that we've got was Engels, maybe midway through the half, tries to play a really ambitious ball from near the halfway line, curling it in behind the defence for Maeda. He's overhit it. Other than that, we've done absolutely nothing. We've created nothing. We've deserved nothing from that first half. And we're really lucky that it's that we've actually can take something in at halftime that we're not behind.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think we've been absolutely bereft of creativity. We'll stick on Balikwisha at the moment. He is obviously the debut boy. I agree with you. I think the boys obviously going to need patience to understand the style of play, but I think that there were two occasions where I felt he would have had a beating of his man had he just taken the ball on. And I think you're right, he's made the wrong decisions there. But that seems to have been a little bit endemic of the whole team performance. I almost felt like Ange watching that because I was shouting at the screen, stop passing it back. There were opportunities where we've been in possession and we've taken the easy pass. And I don't understand why we're doing that, because every time, and there haven't been many occasions, I would say that straight away, there haven't been many occasions, but every time we've pressed Giga and Suter, we've made them look shaky. Why is the manager and why are the players not seeing that and saying that's how to play? Just get the ball at your feet and run at them, because I think if we do that, we've got the beating. Nygren, I think, is getting stuck in. I think he's been shown up by his lack of pace a little bit in the wing. I think that was always the fear, that he's got the invention, doesn't necessarily have the pace. Engels and Hatate are nowhere in that game. And you said something at the pre-match, which is really important. You said they would try and stifle Callum McGregor. And I think they've done that. Callum McGregor has barely played a forward pass in that match. So when you break it down, Kim, where are we? We're not losing the game yet, but where are we losing the battles on the park at the moment?
Yeah. So there's probably a few areas, and to pick on something that you'd pick up on something that you'd mentioned before the game, which was about the players needing to be on it. Yeah. I've got a list of about 8 or 9 players that I don't think are on it today. Yeah. So we're losing it there. We've got so many players that are off it. They're just off the pace of this game. But we've become such a predictable team and such a predictable setup under Brendan that the easiest way to stop us is to stop Callum McGregor, because as soon as you do that, the rest of the boys don't know what to do. Like, they don't know how to play. To that point where, as you've mentioned there, it's been rare, but there's been a few occasions where we've had the ball in promising attacking positions, and I'm thinking mainly it's been on the right, and maybe one of the reasons is because Nygren doesn't have the pace to take on Magoma. But instead of even trying to play a pass down the line for Engels or Ralston, who'd been up in support, he's turned and played it back.
Yes,
And it's every single time. So you're just taking the sting out. We're taking the sting out of our own attack by going back, and then it's going to Carter Vickers, who's been very slow on the ball again, apart from one moment when he tries to drive forward, but then no one moves for him. Like,
I
he
was going to
doesn't
say
want
everybody
to be taking it 50
everybody just
yards up
watched
the
them.
park,
They just watched them.
but everyone just watches. No one's made a move to get into space to create an angle. Even as you've mentioned, if like a wall pass, just bounce it off. There was nothing that no one wanted it. And that's a concern then as well. You know, I don't know if it's that obvious, but it is. There's a concern growing in that players just don't want the ball, because when they do, they're not doing the adventurous thing. I'll give Balak a pass for today because it's his first game, because he's only in the door a couple of days. So I think, you know, you can kind of let that slide. But that second chance that he's got, when he does have 20 yards of space to run into, that's not about getting used to a new team. That's you see the space, you go and attack it. That should be his game. So I think we're losing it there because we don't have players that are confident enough on the ball at the moment, don't seem to be willing to take a risk. McGregor's been closed down, and as soon as that happens, you see we lose our way, and too many players are just off the pace. We haven't really won any of the individual battles that we spoke about before the game, and you know Rangers haven't had to be that good to be winning those battles, and that's a concern, especially if if you look to the benches, we'll mock him as much as we want. They've got Cyril Dessers on the bench who could come on and score. He hit 23 goals or whatever last season, the same the season before. We're looking at that bench and we've got Shin, Yang, and James Forrest as your attacking options. It does not fill you with much confidence going into the second half.
It doesn't. It doesn't. You mentioned Liam Scales earlier. Now, I think Scales has had he's kind of had. We've seen the good and bad of Liam Scales today. Is probably the best way I can describe it. I think he's been defensively one of our most important players. He's winning a lot of headers. He seems to be winning quite a few of the duels there. A little bit of a shaky moment when early on when Miovski gets the wrong side of him, and Scales, certainly in real time it looked worse than it did on the replay. It was obviously Miovski trying to buy one, but it looked very, very it looked a little bit shaky. But other than that, I thought Scales defensively has done well. The problem is he's also, and somebody's mentioned in the comments, apologies, the comments are coming in so fast I didn't get a chance to catch it, but one of the comments I thought made a really good point. Why is Liam Scales being asked to be the defensive playmaker? Because his passing accuracy again at times, under no pressure, he's put the ball out of touch, he's played the ball to not a great area. So while I think he's playing very well defensively, and has probably been our most noted defender, I think somebody else has to take responsibility for trying to play out from the back, because I'm not sure that's where we see the best of Liam Scales. Interesting to see what people say in the comments regarding that. But what's your thoughts on Scales' performance, Kev?
Yeah, so the reason he's probably the player whose name I've written down the most in my notes is because he's having one of those very Liam Scales type of games where I think he's actually looked pretty decent with every cross ball that's come in. He's won most of them. Not for the offside goal, unfortunately, but he's defended most crosses that have come in pretty well, and he's been the only one that's done it, because otherwise I think we've looked really shaky again, trying to defend any cross ball or high ball that's come in. So yeah, I'll agree with that comment from AGSC Tech that his penalty box defended today has been excellent up till now, but then his distribution has been dreadful again. So many times, I'll get on with that. So many times he's misplaced a pass, or he's given not quite as bad as a hospital pass, but he's given it into someone who's got, he's given it to McGregor, who's got Asgard on him straight away, or Diomandi's there. There's always a Rangers player around the guy he's passing it to. So I think that really needs to improve.
Yeah.
Excuse me, from him, but otherwise defensively he has done his bit, and he's been a more solid defender. I don't know what's going to happen in the second half, but we do need to change something to avoid it being Scales. It's the one that's trying to drive us forward. It can't be McGregor because he's been nullified in this game. So we need to have another outlet. Engels or Hatate need to step up and demand the ball and be the one that's going to make things change. Or heaven forbid, we need to change our style of play a little bit and maybe go a bit more direct. and put the ball more down the wings and actually instruct our wingers to wing and to run at their fullback and try and take them on. And whenever possible, as the point that you mentioned right at the top there, press the hell out of Suter and De Giga, because
Yes.
the few times that we've done it, they've looked very, very shaky. So, like, I think there's ways and means that we can get back into this game. I'm not always convinced that Brendan will make the necessary changes to do it because it takes him away from his normal system. But even if we stick with this system, it's down to the players in the park now actually
Yeah.
having the testicular fortitude, as John Hughes would say, to step up and take control of this game, prove that they deserve to be at this stage. And I say at this stage, you're playing against a pretty average Rangers team. You know, this isn't Champions League level football. This is a game that, on paper, these boys should be winning, and they're not at the moment. And they need to step up and actually show that they deserve to be out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Put yourself in the manager's shoes for a minute, Kevin. I know that's difficult, but if you're looking at the bench, if you're looking at changing, let's say we get to the usual 60 minutes, it's still nothing each, you know, and we're not showing massive improvement. Where do you look at in the bench? What changes stand out for you that could make a difference in this game? Because there's not a lot there, is there?
It's the same answer as I gave you on Tuesday night, pretty much. Don't really look at that bench with confidence and thinking there's very many players that will come on and positively impact it for us. The one I would look to again, though, would be somebody like Luke McCowan, just because I think he will, in this game, he is another one of those Celtic fans in a jersey. He will go and give his all when he's out there. There's been quite a few physical challenges going in. I think he'd get, in the mix with that as well. I think he would enjoy that.
He
But
doesn't
most
hide,
of all
does
with him, if he gets half a sighting of goal, he's going to take the shot on. And we've just watched a team there with 45 minutes who haven't even, got to as close as having half a sighting of goal. But but I would look to him as somebody. Bernardo is another option. Again, more just for maybe adding a bit of physical presence in the midfield, but I don't know what he would really bring to this offensively. And up front, it's a bit of a wild card as to who you would bring on. Any of them could come on and have the same kind of impact as the boys that played the first 45 minutes. It's not as if we're back in the days where you'd look and go, Giakoumakis could come off the bench and make a difference, or actually when we had one of Jota, Abada, and Maeda on the bench, and one of them would come on and make a difference. We're not there anymore. We're really light and poor on options in the bench now. So I want to be positive, but I can't be at the moment.
I think when you look at the stats that you mentioned, though, not a single attempt on target against what is, and seems to be the universal opinion, what is a very, very poor Rangers team. There's two things I want to touch on. One, we've spoken a lot about the personnel, but I think we need to turn the focus onto the manager. If a manager is looking at 45 minutes of football without a single shot on target, surely he has to recognise that the game plan isn't working, because the game plan will never be to have no shots on target. That can't possibly be Brendan's intention here. So surely this is the point where Brendan has to earn his money and say, okay, this isn't working, but I've seen enough of that match to recognise that there's vulnerabilities in this Rangers team, so I'm going to go and make changes. Maybe move Balikwisha more inside, for example, put the centre-backs under more pressure. As you say, maybe bring a McCowan on, someone who's more speculative in terms of taking efforts and going a bit more direct. Does he look at Shinya Mada, maybe playing two up front alongside Maeda, give a different option? As much as we look at the personnel, is the tactical inflexibility and they're trying to fit every player into a very rigid system, is that what's hurting us? Because something that was mentioned on commentary, on the Sky Sports commentary that I'm watching, is that Russell Martin has changed the way Rangers have been playing this season. He's changed to adapt to this game and what he expects to see in this game. Surely our manager should be more or better versed at doing that than somebody that's brand new into the job.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah. I think our tactical inflexibility is something. I have Freudian slip. Yes, but I think our tactical inflexibility is something that really holds us back, because we can sit here and talk about all these great formations and that we would play, the tactical tweaks and changes we would make. But Brendan doesn't really do it. He plays his 4-3-3. He wants us to play the same style in every game. Most changes are like for like, so you're not really seeing much of a benefit or an improvement in there. We are so predictable that a team from Kazakhstan was able to watch us a few times and go, stop Callum McGregor from playing, you stop Celtic from playing. Rangers have been doing it for the last 18 months, to give them a wee bit of credit for it, because we haven't beaten them that much in that time. One victory over them in 90 minutes last season, it's not good enough. So it is time for Brendan to earn his coin. I would like to see him make some sort of change, whether a substitution or just tactically be a bit more flexible. But again, I haven't watched him for long enough. I don't think he's going to.
Yeah, no, I'd probably agree with that. We are at the 15-minute mark, and other players will be starting to come back out, so we will move on to the second half. Hopefully, we'll have something more positive to talk about at full time. I mean, I don't think anyone would argue that was a poor opening 45 from us, but we did come through it relatively unscathed, Kev. Maybe that is the one positive we take going into the second half. We'll be back at full time. In respect to the result, all we'd ask is that let's stick with us. Let's keep try and get some positivity. Hopefully the fans will get behind the team and the boys will do the business on the park. So we go on for the second 45. We'll see all of you again. Thank you again for supporting the channel, over 2,000 strong on the channel there at halftime. We'll see you again at full time, where hopefully we'll be talking about a Celtic victory. Kev, thanks very much. I'll see you at full time, sir.
Nice one. Cheers, Chris.